Lifting the cross closed the entrance door and also opened some kind of stone panel. Ingenious. The brass case was smooth and perfectly round. The stone cross was propped up. Now I was getting somewhere. A round slot precisely carved into the stonework. I touched the slot. Nothing bad happened, which was good. I've always been attached to my fingers. This slot was designed for something specific. But what? The artifact was like an old printer's block, covered in symbols. The artifact slotted into the hole perfectly. Behind the old walls, I could hear some kind of mechanism groaning into life, but whatever had been triggered had now jammed. A hidden door. This was getting interesting. Shame the mechanism jammed. I was going to have to find a way to prise it open. The gap was too thin for me to get a grip. I needed something thin enough to prise the door open. I removed the shell case. The cross didn't drop back down. Some kind of mechanism was holding it up. The gap was too narrow. I needed something flatter to work into it. The stone slab had flattened one end of the shell case. I removed the shell case. Another good use for a shell case. Another secret room. Somebody had something to hide. But was it what I was looking for? Wow! Through the darkness, I could see that this was a stateroom. But for what purpose? And how did it tie in with Carchon? It was an old circuit breaker, like something from a Frankenstein movie. Amazing! The thing still worked. The room lit up bright as day. Lady Justice stared out from a stone door, which was locked and reinforced with steel bands. A door like that always has something important behind it. I had to find a way to unlock it. A slot next to the safe door. All I had to do was find something to fit into it. It was like being back in kindergarten. All I needed now was a shape that would fit the slot. That wasn't going to help. The desks were covered with a layer of dust. No one had worked here for years. The flags had faded, but their message was still pretty clear. Fascist regalia, a message of hate. It was a drawer. I wondered what was inside. Inside the drawer, I found a note written in some kind of code. Damn, don't you just hate it when that happens? The drawer had come out easily enough, but wouldn't fit back into place. A photo, long lost, had fallen down the back of the drawer. It was very old, but there was no mistaking the guy in the foreground. Carchon. Behind him were soldiers, a burning village and a corpse. The photograph was cropped on the right-hand side. Somebody else in the picture obviously didn't want to be in it anymore. I wasn't surprised. This was Africa in the 60s. An uprising was being brutally suppressed. And here was Mr. Media himself, Carchon, doing the suppressing. The photograph was not just powerful evidence. It was also my ticket to one explosive story. But there had to be more for me to discover. It was pretty clear from the lack of dust that someone had been working very recently at this desk. Oh my God! The sheet was a printout with my personal information. Everything from my favorite food to my waist size. They were right about chocolate, but come on guys, I'm a size 10. There was even a picture of me, taken with a telephoto lens. Carchon wouldn't have taken these pictures himself. This was big and organized. I was part of it. And people were getting murdered. This was the article I'd written about the costume killer. My suspicions were right. Carchon had cut it out. 2 businessmen had been killed. One in Italy, one in Japan. In each case the killer had worn a costume. A penguin and then a snowman. But that wasn't the only link between the 2 murders. Both the victims had been big media do-gooders. And I proved they were just the opposite. So, how did they fit in with Carchon? The dregs at the bottom of the mug hadn't dried out or gone moldy. It wasn't more than a day old,